opportunity and hopefully the enjoyment of everybody to raise a glass of bourbon and toast America's only native spirit.
And very native to Kentucky. Bourbon has been around here for more than 200 years. Currently, it employs 22,000 Kentuckians. That number has doubled over the last 10 years. While the brown liquor keeps pouring, there are some threats that could slow its flow, like taxes.
And there are 7 different taxes on every bottle of bourbon before it ever reaches your lips. One of those taxes has been the aging barrel tax. And Kentucky has been the only place in the world that taxed aging barrels of whiskey.
Eric Gregory, president of the Kentucky Distillers Association, says those taxes are being phased out over 20 years. But currently,
a lot of states are telling us that, the reason that those distilleries aren't locating here is because of that barrel tax.
Gregory says the industry is growing and becoming more diverse.
We are, but there's a lot of work to do in that area. We're very thankful and have been welcoming to our friends at Fresh Distillery.
So in 2020, we were recognized by the state of Kentucky as the first African Americans to make bourbon in the state of Kentucky.
Husband and wife team Sean and Tia Edwards founded Fresh Bourbon Distillery in 2017, and they focus on bourbon cocktails, moving away from the standard neat approach, meaning no additives.
And so we felt like that people were pushing you to one experience in the bourbon industry. And we wanted to change that, so hence a fresh approach to the bourbon industry.
The Edwards employ 12 people, and they say right now business is great. And they're happy to see growth in the bourbon world.
A lot of the growth in the industry is coming from a lot of diverse people.
But when it comes to taxes on bourbon,
and as long as they make the taxes manageable, that's the idea.
So cheers to Kentucky bourbon. It's your day. And the world wouldn't be the same without you.
Every sip of bourbon is a sip of Kentucky, and it's very authentic.
In Lexington, Grayson Passmore, WKYT.